I don't know if we can reach it. My fault, bro.
I know we're not gonna be able to reach today. We're not gonna be able to reach today. If anybody has not realized, this is the second time ever that someone else has been sitting on this couch with myself and Manny, other than just us. If you haven't noticed, the guy right here in the Attaboy Bryce Harper shirt, what's up, sir? kiiLKenny, our Monday guy, is now in the studio with us. You guys can't make this shit up. We tweeted that today. Welcome into the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Wow. Obviously, we're going to get into the Super Bowl. We're going to get into championship weekend, everything that happened on Sunday with my clowning and my misses on the Ravens. So we're going to get into that call. But this is just insane. I think I'm in a little bit of a shock. And I'm going to start out the show by saying this. So for those of you that don't know, from the very beginning, I'll have to show you this after. There's a closet in the back there where that first show was done with you.
No shit.
And that's where like where you hit the big Trae Young and Zach LaVine for threes hit, and we just sent a DM and we got it. And that was like, I think that was January of 2021. That was January of 2021. Now it's January 30th of 2024. And this man that was on a computer screen when we were in separate locations and I was in a fucking closet back there is now sitting with us. Full circle moment for everybody here. So sincerely, like, love and appreciate you for backing us all this way. This is just unreal. So happy to have you here, dude. Like, this is fucking incredible.
Shout out to you for coming out of the closet and being with us right here, man. It's
great to have you.
Big move.
So let's first just start off with like, from the betting side, I got killed on Sunday. Obviously, I had the Ravens. Like, what?
Me too.
You too.
Slaughtered.
What was like? I guess. Like your touchdown scores. I know we were talking before we got started. We had Bateman in there. Like, what was some of the things that I guess you thought that some things that we're not necessarily taking that is out of our, like, for me, I'm looking at like spreads and like maybe the favorites, those guys. Like, you're taking the outsider guys, the moonshot guys. Like, what were some of those guys that you were reading from us not taking like a Gus Edwards or like a Zay Flowers, something like that?
Yes, like for the Ravens Chiefs, I don't even know if I fixated on like any particular touchdown score. And like, you know, I've said this too. I think if you're in the player prop game, which is where like the bulk of my betting is, it's definitely tougher in the playoffs. Like, it's which sounds counterintuitive, but like the lines are just so sharp. You kind of like, you know where the ball is going for the most part. And I was trying to just find guys that I thought, well, we're going to be out there a lot. And look, we'll get into the game, but like, I clearly thought the Ravens were at least going to put up more of a fight and do more offensively. So I thought guys like, I thought Bateman had a generous line. He needed like 2 catches. I think on FanDuel he was like 21.5 yards. So like, I thought Bateman was a good number. I ended up not playing him solo, but like, I thought the Justin Watson number was good at like 16.5. I think he had 1 catch for 16 yards. So if you played that solo, that one definitely hurt. But yeah, I think the playoffs, I think, are definitely, for the player props, a little tougher, just because, again, I feel like the margins are just razor thin on some of these numbers, and you got to pick your spots if you're going to try to, you know, not go the chalky route. And again, I watched Bateman do cardio for 4 hours on Sunday.
Now, do you look also at, like, you know, the strategy that was working for the majority of the season, 25 yards in each half? I saw a couple, like, I think Laporta was like 35 yards each half. Something like that. Like, yeah, were you touching those at all?
I've stayed away from them the last couple of weeks just because we got burned on too many of them down the stretch. Like, it was infuriating to see a guy, you know, give you 40 yards in the first half and then being invisible in the second half. So I didn't play them as much. Now, I think what was cool for the playoffs, I mean, they had more options. They had even some combined ones. I think they had like Zay and Rashee Rice, both 25 each half. I didn't mess with them too much.
Jerry almost did something crazy.
I know. Shout that. But yeah, that like Kelsey first TD, Zay Flowers second TD. That was like 90-1. So Jerry, shout out to you, man. That was a banger. You said you were going to get naked. I haven't seen your naked body yet. Haven't seen it yet.
Well, what was the other lay, or the other part of that lay? It was Laporta 35 in each half.
Yeah.
And Kittle, I think.
And Kittle. And that was for like $100,000. That would have been sick. He's been.
We gotta talk about.
I wanted that for him so badly, dude. But dude, shout out to Jerry. Jerry's on a little heater as of late. I feel like the last couple of weeks, man, he's had a couple of bombs. You love to see it, man. That guy is as OG as it gets. You know, there's not a lot of guys that have been doing it like in the gambling Twitter and in the content space, like, you know, as long as we have, and he's been doing it from the very beginning. So he's a legend, man.
The two of you guys were like the the first two guys that we really started seeing on Twitter was you and Jerry.
I got to give him a lot of credit too, man. It's funny. I had like a little throwback moment today. CT on Twitter. Shout out CT wherever you are. It kind of took me down memory lane. He posted a screenshot of like one of the original glitches that was in Mooney Gang. It was.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
It was. They had Josh Richardson 4+ rebounds at plus 3,000.
Unbelievable.
Now the cool part was, I mean, you could hammer that, and then the hedge was there. I mean, the under 3.5 was like plus money, so like you still were able to make some money off of that. But the original red alert, the first red alert that we ever had, it was a Gordon Hayward player performance double, and I've never seen one like this since. It was Gordon Hayward 1 steal. Hornets win. It was Hornets versus Thunder, and it was at 9,500, I think. So I saw this, and we still had like the free Discord at the time. All I was doing was Twitch, and it's like midnight on Christmas. I can't sleep, and I'm just scrolling through, going through the odds, and I look at this. I wake my brother-in-law up. I'm like, am I missing something here? So I literally in my Discord, I just went, red alert. Go bet this. And then we had a Red Alerts channel the next day. But shout out to Parlay J, because he, I think he tweeted about it and, I think sent a pretty good amount of traffic my way. Like at the time, I mean, he had, I think, 40,000 followers on Twitter at the time. I had like 2. And a lot of people said like, hey, like, I got introduced to your Discord when Jerry tweeted about that glitch. So, dude, he's been a bro from the beginning.
And from that tweet too, did you notice how old the FanDuel slip looked in that?
I know. They look so much better back then, man. It might just be the nostalgia. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they used to look a lot cleaner.
Well, and Jerry has on his pinned one is from like 2020, and that's like the old school one too. And that is, I guess, very similar to what your Levine one looked like.
Yeah.
When was that? Because we had you on the very first time. That was January. Was that still in that same month, or was that?
Yeah, I can tell you that was the Levine one was a little later. If I remember correctly, I think the Levine Trae Young. I think it was April 21st, 2021. I have to check. I'm pretty sure that's the date. April 21st, 2021. And dude, what's annoying about that one is like you look at the odds on that play.
I was just gonna say that.
You build that play out today, and it's probably plus 4,000. I got it at plus 120,000. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So obviously, like the development from like yourself in the space, how gambling Twitter's grown, and then also how the odds have changed.
Yeah.
In just like a 2-year span, now in this 3-year span is out of control. But all right, let's get into these games here. We're going to kick things off here with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. I was the only one on the show last week that said that Lamar Jackson, the MVP, was going to take these guys down. And again,
ticket too.
Dead wrong. Yep, and I took him live at half too, by the way.
Did you really?
Yep. It's because I hate Patrick. It's not that I hate Patrick
Wasn't
Mahomes.
a bad number.
I just don't want to see them win again. They're going to go to the Super Bowl and win again. We'll talk about that later. But I was dead wrong again. I'm getting clowned all over because this is like back-to-back weeks in the playoffs where I pick another side against the Chiefs and I lose. Again.
Yo, don't you hate how they wait till after the game to start getting on the social media posts?
Yep, and they start, because they wait until after it loses to start yapping.
Shit, I see how y'all
And I'm sure you know that too with slips and all that stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
17-10, the Chiefs win this one. We saw the Zay Jones fumble. I thought it was very fucking fitting that we talk about the touchback rule, and then we basically see it in that game with Zay Flowers. So that was pretty cool there. 17-10, Mahomes moves on. We see a lot of Taylor Swift coverage. We do not see a lot of Jason Kelce coverage. And I said to all the Chiefs people, hey, is this what you wanted? Because you got what you wanted if you wanted Taylor Swift coverage for the next 2 weeks. There you go. That you got your wish. Because I wanted to see the MVP go do it. And now we had 2 guys. We had Josh Allen for his career to beat Mahomes. Big upstep. Lamar Jackson, what can he not do? Win in the playoffs. Here's your chance against Patrick Mahomes in your MVP season.
Preacher.
Lose again. So now it just goes to show Patrick Mahomes is 1 win away from beating, from breaking Peyton Manning's all-time playoff win record. He's 14-13, and Patrick Mahomes is 14-3. Just needs to win the Super Bowl to go 15-3 in 10 less games played. So when we start talking about GOAT level, Tom Brady was on a Pat McAfee show today talking about the GOAT level and where this ladder's climbing this early on in his career. I'm happy for him, but I'm still gonna hate on him. I want to just hear your thoughts from the standpoint of why the Ravens came out so slow. The one thing I had said was just come out fast, score in the first 2 drives. First possession, first series was a 3-and-out in under a minute and a half. And then Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs walk down the field. Easy, just actually great throw, better catch by Travis Kelce in the end zone there. And then we're down. So I guess my initial thoughts was they were never winning that game after that first drive. And then when they came back and Lamar throws a dot to Zay Flowers, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, we're back. And then they just died in the second half. So is that just a story about what these teams are going to be against Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, the problem with, like, it's hard to fairly, like, evaluate quarterbacks when they have to get through Mahomes to win a ring and I guess be deemed successful. And dude, in a sense, man, it reminds me of, like, look at all the all-time NBA greats that never won a championship, like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, and it's just, well, yeah, because their prime was in the middle of the Jordan Bulls. Like, it just happens, and you're even at this early in his career, you're seeing that with Mahomes and the Chiefs right now. It's just like, this is a guy that is just gonna, like, a lot of really, really great quarterbacks will never win Super Bowls, and he's gonna be the main reason for that. And it's just, it sucks. Like, it's like, it could have been fun being like the second best golfer when Tiger Woods was like, when, it just,
I was going to say, Phil.
And you can, I think, like, fairly make that comparison, dude. He's the best quarterback ever. Like, he's the best quarterback I've ever seen, just from a pure talent standpoint. And it's unfortunate for Lamar that, like, look, this is the worst Chiefs team that we've probably seen in the last couple of years. This is the best Ravens team that they've had. I mean, this is the best shot that he was going to get. I don't even know if they win their division next year with a healthy Joe Burrow. So, like, this is their chance to do it. And, like, you don't want to just point the finger at Lamar, but, like, you got to call a spade a spade. He played like shit in the second half. I mean, he really, really did.
But then you talk about at least from a running standpoint, and this was all going, like, circling the media after, a team that 82% of their snaps are rushing attempts, and we're running the ball, what is that, 16 times?
It's not even 16, bro. That's
Lamar has 8 carries, and some of them were just getting out of sack trouble. I mean, run the football.
Yeah, they abandoned the run early. It was weird. Like, I think their second drive, it looked dicey at first, because I think it was like 4th and 2 from, like, their own, like, 25 or whatever it was. They get the Lamar scramble for 20 yards. The next play is like an inside handoff to Gus Edwards. He takes it for 15 yards, and I don't think he touched the ball again the rest of the game. Like, they completely abandoned the run. And I think, they got behind. I know that it's going to be a little game script dependent, but, like, this is what this team has done all year, and there's no excuses to abandon the run the way that they did. I mean, it was the offensive game plan was just abysmal.
We talked about it with the Cowboys. It was like, we watched you all season be this one team, and then now when the biggest game on the line, you just turn to a whole different team. Low key though, it's crazy. Even though they ran the ball, I think, like, actual rushing attempts in total was like 6 times. Still had a very good chance to win this game. L'Jarius Sneed makes one of the best defensive plays. Him and Jordan Poyer, the goal line strip outs, like, that's just insane. But even at that, like, I feel like there were so many plays, and we saw Lamar do it in the Texans game, where he was the engine of the offense. He would drop back to pass, scramble. Like, there's at least 4 or 5 examples I'm watching this game. I'm like, Lamar throw, Lamar run, at least do something. The strip sack. They showed. I saw a picture of the behind visual of the strip sack. Nick Bolton and Trank were out in coverage. So I'm thinking, when I watched the play, I'm like, oh, someone was spying him. He couldn't run. Like, bro, there was green grass for you to take off. And I think that was probably one of, like, the more tentative scrambling games for Lamar. Like, he was really looking to push the ball downfield constantly, and it's a little confusing to me. Like, he's not off the hook just as much as I put Todd Monken off the hook for the way he called the game. I think the way the Ravens defense played was incredible. Watching them play that full game was so fun to watch. And I think it's funny. I'm gonna have to tip my hat to the Chiefs, because I think the Ravens came out, like, trying to punk them physically a little bit. You can tell Roquan Smith and PQ, they were trying to push guys around. I think it was the first quarter, and I like to see it. It was like a 3rd and 1. They threw it to Kelsey, and Rashee Rice ran a drag. It was to try to block Patrick Queen, and Patrick Queen demoralized him. And then Rashee Rice does not back down the rest of the game. And the Chiefs responded to the physicality, and I think that had a big thing to do with it. And we gotta tip the hat to Andy Reid. Like, I'm not trying to get to the GOAT debate, this and that, but
it's gonna come up though.
Yeah, and you said this is the weakest Chiefs team, and I think, if we're gonna rank them, last year was the second worst Chiefs team, and they won the chip, and then this year was the worst. And we don't really got to do the GOAT debate, but it's crazy because Andy Reid's right there. And if he gets the Eagles over the hump, maybe 1 or 2 more times, he's the undisputed GOAT. I got to tip my cap to Andy Reid, because he keeps doing it time and time.
He's got time though, man. I mean, when it's all said and done,
Facts, though.
He could have 3 more minimum. I mean, it's just it's crazy to see. It really is. This whole game was just weird. Like, again, the way the Ravens abandoned the run, and then I know we've said like, it's been a weaker Chiefs team, especially offensively, but like, you got to give credit to their defense, and they must have just been giving Lamar these like just some exotic looks, because he just looked confused, the entire game. So shout out to Spagnuolo. I mean, again, Spag was dialing up
his hate too.
Spag was dialing up some exotic looks because Lamar just looked really confused, like especially in the second half. And what's crazy is like, if you were like heavy on props in this game, you had to be feeling pretty good. Like 8 minutes in, it looked like it was going to be the over of the century. And the funny thing was, like, like a lot of like the Sharp podcast I listened to, a lot of guys like I trust in this space. Like the consensus was the under. People loved the under in this game, and it was this thing was soaring over early. And then it wasn't. And look, the Ravens defense did everything they needed to do to at least keep them alive in this game. I think in the second half, I think the Chiefs went, I believe I think they punted 5 straight times.
Yeah.
I want to go back and check. Like, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes has ever punted 5 straight times in any game at any point in his career. Like they had enough chances, and they just couldn't get it done offensively. And then, that Zay Flowers fumble was
everything.
That Zay Flowers fumble was tough. I mean, look, you had the big catch, the dumbass taunting penalty, and then they get it back in like 2 plays, and it's just, dude, I get it. Like, it's a bang bang play. You're trying to make a play. You're trying to score, but like, even though your team has abandoned the run, it's 1st and goal from the 2. It's probably like a 95% chance you're punching that in, and then we're looking at a tie game, and it's just, you just can't have that.
That's why I thought it was funny.
You made a great point about the Pat Mahomes thing. Like, I just think about it now, bro. They scored the first 2 drives, and Mahomes looked crazy, and Travis Kelce looked like prime Kelce. I'm thinking about, it was like I think they went for it on 4th down the first drive. 4th and 2, they went to Kelce on Stevens, who's one of the best slot corners in the league. Then I think it was like the next play, Kyle Hamilton's draped all over him playing great defense. Kelce catches that touchdown. Yeah. Next drive, they score. Then the Ravens defense really locked in. And one thing that's just funny to me that I wanted to point out about the Chiefs, after the Eagles game, when they go to MVS over the top on a play that could have put us to bed, end of the game.
Yep.
Shout out to Andy Reid. Shout out to Pat Mahomes. If you pay attention to the Chiefs, time and time again, these big games, when they need a play over the top and it doesn't seem like it could be a deep ball to MVS, they throw a deep ball to MVS. End of the game, they need a play on to get a first down.
When I was watching, I was like, of course, bro.
I think of the Bills game, they did throw the one to him when Mahomes was scrambling, but even out of halftime, the game was contentious. It kind of felt like the Bills were getting the upper hand on the Chiefs offensively, what they were trying to do. They come out of half and throw a deep ball to MVS when he's outside on the wide receiver. It's like they always try to wrinkle in a little MVS deep ball when they need it. It's crazy to watch, and that's another shot to Andy Reid just pulling out the ass.
And you got to give credit to the Chiefs receivers. I think this year, I believe the Chiefs led the NFL in drop passes.
Yes, they did.
Not one drop in this game.
Right?
Not one drop in this game. So the boys showed up.
And then I want to go back to the beginning of the game to hear the take on, or I guess the thoughts on Justin Tucker, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. What did you think about all that? I mean, obviously that's just like heat of the moment. It's the AFC Championship. We're going against the MVP. Let's get some gutsy, plays in there. But again, Tucker's talking to the media after, I guess that's in, exit interview day, because that wasn't post game. And he's like, I've been doing that for 12 years. We get to go on their side and kick from there. And I just thought it was kind of like a funny, like banter type thing. Like Patrick Mahomes asked me to move the tee, and I did. And then I thought it was a banter thing where like Kelce was just throwing a tee, and then he like chucks the helmet, and I was like, I'm not going to make it a bigger thing. But like, then the other thing too is like, don't rile them up, bro. Like, no, this is no disrespect to you at all, but like, you don't have to go against Patrick Mahomes. Your defense does, so don't piss him off.
That's 3 Hall of Famers just talking a little bullshit.
Yeah. That was a little funny.
It's because, a little like,
and then you get DBs fighting on the tunnel runouts.
Every level I play football on, at least your home games, the kicker kicks on the same goalpost every time because the opposing kicker is on the other side, and even if he's not over there, he's not going to go over there because the opposing kicker might go over there. So Pat Mahomes and Kelce low-key had to go like to the goal line to be petty. It was petty, but I liked that. Like, I liked what I saw. Playoff football, man. Do what you got to do.
Well, I got to give you guys props too, because you said, and especially you, Kenny, when you were doing your breakdown on why you're picking the Chiefs, I mean, you said it's a system play, and you just bet the Chiefs. You're going to give me Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs as a dog. Again, I have to take them.
They doing it again too. We gonna get,
and they're doing it again. So like, obviously we'll get there. But to the same token, like, I don't. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20. Me just gotta taking the emotional factor out of it. Mahomes as an underdog was just never losing this game. I mean, there was multiple chances for them to lose this game, but Lamar didn't want to show up. And maybe that's a little bit too harsh to say, but at the same time, I mean, you got to give credit to the defense there.
I mean, dude, I feel like Josh Allen got more shit than Lamar's getting, and again, like
Lamar didn't look like no MVP.
Lamar's the MVP. Lamar had a tremendous season, and Lamar is a fantastic quarterback, and he played like ass. Like all those things can be true. Like that, like I think you can make excuses here and there. Like that interception to Likely is just.
You can't throw that ball.
One of
the, they were on Twitter trying to blame Isaiah. Lamar stands is crazy. They were trying to blame Likely for raising his hand.
Also, like, Likely putting the one screenshot, it's Likely putting his hand up as he's like triple bracketed. It's like, What are you doing?
I mean, he's a big tight end. Like he don't know, man.
I know.
Taking the ball. Like Lamar, what you doing?
But isn't that we can almost compare that to Josh Allen's throw though? Now you can't. I mean, he did have Shakir open,
the difference
but it was still the hero ball play.
The difference to me is I feel like he could have Josh could have made the other throw, but the Shakir decision, it was there. Like it was actually there. If he made a good throw, set up in the pocket, it was legitimately there. Lamar, that shit was never there. It was never going to happen for you. They was calling for PI. Hell no. Like that was just when it was. You look at it like, damn, he threw that. Like I saw a tweet. It was like, yo, this is one of them interceptions when I'm playing Madden. I just threw my controller after and quit. I'm like, yeah, bro. Like because you wasn't. No.
But you talked about Lamar too, and that defense, and that was another thing that I noticed too. I mean, there was a lot of plays where he had little to no time to get rid of the ball at all. Like he was like,
Chris Jones.
The pressure was crazy where he was rolling out as soon as he got. As soon as the direct snap came, where I mean, he had nowhere. He had not even where he had nowhere to throw to. There was no time to get rid of the ball, and then it's like I either have to try to make something out of nothing, which is what he was doing most of the time, maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage, or throw it away off my back foot, falling to my back right. Like so, again, just more credit to Spags. There was a quote that he said that I saw today on Twitter, and he was talking about his defense and saying like sometimes you have guys that. You have to like tell them what the play is or what the role is, and then you got to go worry about your job. And he's like, we just don't have any of those guys. Everybody on this defense is locked in, and that's part of the reason that we're here, which we've been seeing. And I mean, you can go back to any Super Bowl, any great Super Bowl quarterback to get to the Super Bowl helps a lot to have a really phenomenal defense. All those Peyton Manning runs, obviously Tom Brady. 07, 08, when they went 17-0 to get to the Super Bowl, his defense was incredible.
Eli, motherfucker.
Eli had a great defense both times, yeah, so we can give him credit there too. But again, also, Spagnuolo was on that.
Yep.
Was on that Giants defense
Spags,
too
baby.
at the time. So I got a little homage there. I mean, at least for where the Ravens go now is you brought up a good point too of Joe Burrow's back. And we saw Arthur Smith sign as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. So that doesn't do much, but I still think before the year started, I was saying that the Bengals were going to win this division. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow gets hurt. Jake Browning does his thing. Now we kind of look at it like, well, even though the Ravens did do that, Joe Burrow's back, and I think the Bengals are going to win the division next year. I don't know if I think,
and even like. The Browns had a great run.
That's true.
Without
I didn't even talk about that.
This was probably the best division in football this year, at least in terms of just parity. All the teams were at minimum good, and they're all going to be as good, if not better, next year. It's again, you don't like to get too dramatic and be like this was their one shot, but it was their best chance. It was far and away their best chance, and they came up short.
It's very similar to what Dan Campbell said as we'll move to that game. Where Dan Campbell said in that last call, he said he gambled and lost on that last third down. And he also said that this was probably one of our better chances. Not saying that we won't ever get back there.
He's keeping it real.
This was one of our best chances. I don't know if a lot of other head coaches out there are going to be somewhat realistic with the team publicly like that by saying that this was one of our best chances. Up 24-7, losing this one to the 49ers in San Francisco, 34-31. Looking at this game right around halftime thinking, like it was always the Lions at plus 250. Great call on everyone else's part. And then the wheels fall off the bus. And 34-31, back-to-back no calls on the field goal, which I think was a little bit too much.
We'll get into them. And I have... Where do you want to go first? Because it's like, do you want to just go into the Dan Campbell decision-making? Because I feel like that's some of the story.
We can work
But
backwards.
you can also even touch, too, like, like, and you had a good point about that too, with the Reynolds drop. I'm not so mad about the call after the fact just because Reynolds was wide open there. But yeah, let's just break it down, like just from his standpoint of some of the play calling, especially the decision making down the stretch. I don't know why you don't kick a field goal to go up 3 scores at that point.
You have to go with what's gotten you there, right? I mean, like the Lions, the entire year, they went for it on 4th and 1 or 2 more than any team in the league and converted it at the highest rate in the NFL. So, like, you don't want to, like, so you talk about these teams that, like, something works the whole year and they get to the playoffs and then they just abandon it. Like, even like that Cowboys-Packers game. Like, Cowboys played more man defense than any team in the league, and then they play soft zone and Green Bay obliterates them in the first half. So, like, you don't want to, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So the 4th down calls, in real time, I didn't like the second one. So you have the first one where they could have taken 3 and they didn't. They dropped the play to Reynolds. He drops it. It's there. Like, that's just, I'm fine with that one. I was even more confused about the play at the end of the first half. It was, I think, fourth and 3 at the goal line. They ended up taking the points. And again, you can kind of talk me into it each way. I thought they were going to go for it. It was pretty much the exact same setup they had the last game. I think they threw to Laporta. Laporta scored. Yep. I thought they were going to try to put their foot in their throat there and go for it. They didn't. They took the points. You had the 4th down drop by Reynolds. And then the most questionable one that I think in real time I had a problem with was, again, they're down by 3. It would have been, I think, it would have been a 47, 48 yarder. And I think that one's a little more debatable, but even then, I don't hate it as much, especially, Badgley's been inconsistent this year. He's been bad outside. And I feel like everyone that's really criticizing that decision is assuming it's an automatic 3 points. Like, there's nothing, it's not. There's no automatic kicks. I feel like we've seen a lot of kicker woes, especially throughout these playoffs. In that game especially. So, like, I didn't, again, I think in real time, I really criticized it, and it just, as, sort of the dust settled, you have a bit more of a clear head. I really think I'm okay with that one as well. The one decision now, and I don't know if this is on Dan Campbell. I don't know if this is on Ben Johnson. I don't know who to point the finger here, but, like, the most egregious coaching decision in this entire game, no debate, is the 3rd down rush on their last drive, right? It's 3rd and goal from, like, the 2, and they march down the field. They do a great job of preserving their timeouts. In what universe are you running the ball there? And you know what, man? If you're gonna run the ball, if you think you got the look you want, and that's the play, if you're doing that, you have your kicking team ready to go, and you sprint them out onto the field. In no universe can you run the ball there, get stuffed, and take a timeout. Because the second you take a timeout, the game is over. You're relying on an onside kick, which with the new rules, I think it converts at like 4%. Horrible. So, like, of all the decisions that you can criticize in this game, I found myself okay with pretty much all of them, except that 3rd down, that 3rd down rush. It made my brain explode. And then again, when it happened, I'm waiting for the camera to pan for, like, the special teams to, like, be sprinting onto the field, because they would have had, I don't know, like 45 seconds, something like that, 3 timeouts. You never know. Like, the second they don't get it and they call timeout, the game's over. Game's over. And, like, that's the one decision I just think is like, I think for other people could be like a fireable offense. I mean, it makes no sense to me. And again, I don't know if that's on Dan Campbell. I don't know if that's on Ben Johnson. I don't know who makes that particular call, but again, that lost them the game.
No, that was the worst one, because they could have just called the same on 3rd down. They could have called their 4th down play and just scored. Now you have 2 plays to pass. I think you hit the nail on the head about the one before half, and I was upset about not really upset, but I was kind of more surprised and thinking that he might have kicked the field goal at the one at the end of the game, just because of a feel of the game thing. Yeah. Like, the one before half felt so on brand, reminded me of the exact situation of when the Eagles played the Patriots and ran the Philly special. It's like, at this point, we're playing with house money. No better point for Dan Gamble to come alive than right now. The latter one, still, I don't think it's a bad decision. I was just more so as being like a Motown. I got family where they're kind of upset, where it's like, damn, bro, we're kind of crumbling at the heels. I know Badgley's shaky, but damn, I would like to see you take 3 there. But I get why you called the call as you called.
And dude, it shows, like, I feel like teams are going to have to find ways to, like, prioritize kickers at some point. Because, like, look,
at some point,
like you saw the amount of
rookie kickers,
the amount of bad misses we saw in the playoffs, and then look, like, you can't blame Badgley for, like, he didn't even get a chance to kick it, but his struggles down the stretch of the season,
numbers.
like, dude, if they've got, the best kicker of all time, Jake Elliott, on their team.
Facts, though.
They're taking
Facts.
the points. Really, I think Dan Gamble takes the points there if he has a reliable kicker, and I think that played into the decision. And again, when you're a team that's this good top to bottom, and you're this close, like that can't be a blind spot. And it clearly was for them. It was for the Packers. I mean, you're seeing it too much.
Josh Reynolds they gotta do something about. Like, I don't know if he's gonna be back on the team next year, but he
can't.
It's so funny too because I think he's just like this. But every time he dropped the ball, they pan to him. His eyes just look so big, like he's like looking at the lights, like, oh fuck, what the fuck?
He's a vet
happening?
too, man. He's
literally a vet.
This dude's a vet. He's been around the block. He's played in big games. Like, they are just two really inexcusable drops. And I mean, dude, you gotta, like, the Gibbs fumble. You can't fumble on your own 25-yard line. And the whole play, when you see the replay, like, I think he went to the wrong side. Like, he never really had the ball secured anyway. Like, but I think that was also on him going the wrong way. Like, the handoff itself was just muddled. And then when you saw the Ayuk play, I think everyone knew what was eventually coming. They reminded me of like the Edelman catch in that in the Falcons Super Bowl. You know, like, it's just if that's the balance that they're gonna get, it's just not our day. I mean,
it's funny too because it wasn't like, so I seen people like Lions fans, well, this is still the same old Lions, and like, I don't really agree, but it is the same old Lions situation. I have me and my dad are talking. I'm getting something to drink, and I'm like, you think Uncle Mikey's nervous at all? Like, you think
Yes.
You think they feel some type of way? And it's funny though, because my dad, because I remember when the PI thing happened, when they played the Cowboys back in the day. This is when I'm new to the whole Lions being sad. They always choke and lose somehow. He told me back in the day, he was like, this is the same old Lions thing. Like, they always find a way to lose. So I was expecting to be like, yeah, I think they might find a way to lose. And he kind of looked at me, gave that laugh where it's like, like, you think they're going to lose this game? Like, you serious? And I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, Pop, all right. And it's funny because the whole second half, I'm kind of watching, like, not how they're going to lose, but like, how are they going to make this close? Like, what y'all about to do? I want to shout out Deebo Samuel because he was injured in that first play of the second half, deep dig that they caught. He's telling him to keep going. Like, he seemed like when they were dead, he was one of the very few like sparks of life. Because I saw a play on Twitter. We got Chase Young walking the plays. They were literally dead. And that Debo play brought them back to life to at least be able to play a little bit. And then, like you said, the Ayuk play was the one where it's like, dog. And then you see the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble, and it's like, wow, it's really the same old line.
The second half, dude, it was the difference makers, at least for the Niners offense. It was like, Debo for sure, and you got to give credit to Brock Purdy. I mean,
that's where I was gonna go.
The Jawan Jennings play where he threw
First of all, that Jawan Jennings catch was unreal,
filthy.
And we saw the throw the week before against the Packers to Jennings, unreal throw from him. Jennings. And then now we're seeing a little bit more of the connection. Now it creates the narrative. So we touched on the lines there. This creates the narrative. Again, something else that's all circling throughout the media is like, can the Brock Purdy hate finally get put to bed? Can the game manager bullshit comments get put to rest? And I would like to, I guess, confidently say, at least when we were talking about the MVP debate, I was the one saying that, like, if Purdy wins MVP, the league's fucked. And now, I guess the way that he's been able to, quote unquote, manage these games, you clawed back from down 17. I mean, in an NFC championship, I know you were at home, but to come back and somehow not be dead. I saw a clip of George Kittle on the sideline walking up to Purdy, and he's like, this is going to be crazy when we get to walk over there at the end of the game and say, man, they had us in the first half, I'm not going to lie. And then he's like, look, and then he says, like, run this team, have fun, you're the guy. You're the guy. So you talk about, I know that's just one person, but that can't just be Kittle. That's the only one that's behind him in these moments. He got the last pick in the draft, second year in the league, back to another NFC championship, wins it this time, going to the Super Bowl, and he's got a team that's galvanized around him.
Yep.
Finally, I think the Brock Purdy hate has to stop. And I guess I got to come back on myself to say, all right, I'm going to chill a little bit because we're going to a Super Bowl as NFC champions. So I think it's got to die.
I think a lot of the hate, though, I think was driven by the fact that for a big part of the year that he was the MVP favorite. Like, I don't think...
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think... Yeah, like there's a lot of Brock Purdy criticism out there. I've been critical of him, but I think I wouldn't have been as vocal because I wasn't saying Brock Purdy stinks. I was just saying I don't...
He's not MVP caliber.
MVP might be...
a stretch.
Might be a stretch, but you still have to tip your cap, give credit where it's due. Again, 5 carries for 48 yards. I think all of them were in the second half, I'm pretty sure. Like, he was dangerous with his legs in the second half, extending drives. Like, again, he did everything that he needed to do to get them back in that game again. You get the lucky bounce with Ayuk, but like, hey man, if you got the sauce, just you're gonna have some things go your way.
Bring that up too. I do want to quickly touch on that. So there was a video. I think it was his Instagram story. The next day, Ayuk is in his bed watching SportsCenter.
That was so
10.
funny.
He's right too.
He sees his at number 2, and he's like, "What's number 1?" And it's Lamar's. What was the better play there for at least one or two? Was it the Ayuk tip catch, or was it the Lamar tip somehow runs, chases after his own ball, makes that catch?
What play they gonna be showing in 25 years? The Ayuk play or the Lamar play?
The Lamar play for sure. But I still think it was the Ayuk play. I do have to go back to Purdy here and give him his flowers for that game. You get to go against I would like to say another tough defense. I'm not going to say a tougher defense, but
defense was playing well.
Defense was playing well. Again, I know Lamar's the MVP, but like, where is this San Francisco 49er team without Christian McCaffrey? Where? I don't think they're in the fucking Super Bowl. I can tell you that right now.
Probably not.
So, like, in terms of this MVP award, I mean, I understand, like, Lamar found a way to get it for himself, and he did, and he deserves it. But Christian McCaffrey deserves it too.
Whew.
And this team is not there without him. And another stellar performance, and Christian McCaffrey gets to go after his first Super Bowl. I mean, you can't write a script any better. And you know what? The conspiracy is dead. The conspiracy is dead. I should have let
the logo, the Super Bowl logo,
and it's light blue and fucking orange next year. So it's not going to be it's yellow and orange next year. So I saw and it's at
fucking Miami.
who was it? It was
Bucks throwbacks. The Bucks creamsicles.
I saw I forget who it was. Somebody, I'm going to be so mad that I forget this. Somebody tweeted, he's in the fucking space, bro. Oh, it was Ahan. Ahan said it, and he's like, man,
shout out to Han.
He's like, dude, like, they're going to have to get the Chargers to transfer to the NFC so they can go against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. But at least for the 49ers, would you, let's just say, right, this is a little bit weird of a question to ask, but let's just say that the Lions go instead of the Niners here. Who has a better chance to beat the Chiefs in this? Do the Lions have a better chance if they made it, or do the Niners have a better chance?
Niners.
Yeah, that's it.
Niners.
Is that simply from a defensive standpoint, or just
yes, for sure? I think if it was, I wish I could have seen it too, because I know that they had lines for both.
Both. You're
for
right.
both.
You're right.
If it's Lions Chiefs, I think it's Chiefs minus 6.5.
That was
probably.
Yo, it was mind blowing. But I told you I checked it. It was before the game ended, so they had Lions. Bro, I think it was Chiefs minus 3.5.
3.5. That
I was like, what?
That's not enough.
What are the books saying? Like, I was like, oh man, they don't fold. I might take the Lions. Like, nah, it was actually real interesting.
I just think
it would have got hammered too. But
yeah.
I mean, but so at least as we move to the Super Bowl, at least my take on this is, and I'm sure a lot of people are in agreement with this as well, the Chiefs Super Bowl was the AFC Championship. You don't need to fucking watch Super Bowl. You don't need to watch Super Bowl. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
We'll talk about
you don't
the game,
need to.
But I disagree.
That's it.
I don't know, man.
Like, you just don't have to. That's why I'm so pissed off. It's over. It's over. Brock
disagree.
Purdy is not going to do it again.
I disagree.
And now I'm going to have to be that guy.
One thing for this game up too, Will, I meant to give this guy shout out to Kyle Juszczyk.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Yep.
One of the best fullbacks of all time.
How about the sideline catch?
Toe taps,
and that brings me to this,
big
too.
catches down the field. Shout out my fullbacks, man.
Dude, and his wife. You've been seeing his wife go crazy for all of her crazy game day fits.
See, Kyle, this is what's wrong, motherfuckers. I have not been looking at your wife, Kyle. You know what I mean?
That's bullshit.
Go ahead.
That's some bullshit.
This is wrong, motherfucker.
Making these crazy fits for everybody. She had Taylor Swift in the jacket.
She made Taylor Swift on.
She had Brittany Mahomes in the jacket.
Yeah,
she made one for Simone Biles, too.
So this is the conspiracy. This is the new conspiracy, is that you're gonna have Taylor Swift and all the women wearing her stuff, and it's like it's a big ruse to get women to buy NFL apparel.
Well, that's why here from Sportico here she gets the licensing deal with NFL Christian Juszczyk, and she'll be able to legally use team logos in her clothing designs. And the one that she was wearing too is pretty cool. When you rolled up the cuffs, it said like Super Bowl bound or something like that. So imagine that would have sucked if the Lions held on. But I think that's pretty cool. And you know what? What they've been saying, Kyle, You're a great husband, because after when they were Taylor Swift was wearing those jackets when she's walking into those games, those big games, wearing the new, Travis Kelce jacket that she made. He's quote tweeting, he's replying, like adding her, like that's her jacket, that's her jacket. And now a couple weeks later, she gets the deal. So what? Good on you. You played a fantastic game as a fucking fullback that you're rarely getting talked about, and then now you get this. So good for you.
He was just trying to make sure he was going to get that good after practice.
Shut up.
Good shit by Kyle.
Hey man, you gotta support the Queens. And Juszczyk, I'm pretty sure what the last time these guys played in the Super Bowl, I think Juszczyk scored. I think he scored the first.
Really?
Yeah, I think. If I remember correctly, in the last Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl, I think Mahomes scored first. I think Juszczyk scored second. I'm pretty sure.
No, you might be right.
Oh, you're making me want to find Juszczyk odds, bro.
Plus 1,200.
They're kind of saying it's pretty like not likely, but you know what I'm saying. They're saying like, yo, he can score for real. Like
Is Sky Moore off IR? Not that I'm jonesing the bet on him, but he's been on IR. Tony's not playing. There's no shot. There's no shot Tony's playing.
You see all the drama with him too, where they're saying th're lying about it.
Yeah, there's something weird going on behind the scenes. The dude is just imploding. Like, dude, you're about to get a ring. Just shut your mouth.
Yeah, bro.
If it wasn't for the cap hit, he probably would have been released already.
Oh yeah,
there's no shot he suits up for this game.
Miko's plus 1,600, and they literally have a red.
I mean, is it about time we see an over the top touchdown to MVS? Like
MVS
50 is good value in the Super Bowl.
MVS or Watson, I think, are not awful looks, man. Not awful looks. Mahomes at 350 is nuts. That's the lowest he's been in.
Crazy.
It's probably the lowest he's been all season.
Wow, yeah, look at that. But it's probably, I mean, look, can you just imagine this? I mean, I've talked on like touchdown lines before throughout this season, just because at one point this year, Kenneth Walker was minus 200 to get in the end zone, which is just ridiculous.
They were dragging.
Imagine being in the fucking Super Bowl and you're minus 240 to score. I understand it's CMC, but that's just still outrageous. Okay, on to the Super Bowl. 49ers Chiefs, we know that that's happening. Again, we're just under 2 weeks away from the big game out in Las Vegas. Something to touch on to open up the game is we're seeing the travel schedule that Taylor Swift is going to have to do from her Japan shows to get there on time. Now, what that's going to fucking look like is she would have her show, and it would be nighttime over there, 11 p.m., and it would be Saturday morning at 6 a.m., Las Vegas time. She takes a 13-hour flight over. She gets there at Saturday. She gets to Vegas Saturday night, and then she's there for the game. And then she doesn't have a show until the Friday after in Australia. It's possible, and if she gets there in attendance to do that,
did you see the
hammer Travis Kelce? Dude,
there was a prop. I don't think it was on any U.S. books.
My God, don't even tell me.
It was, dude. The odds on this actually literally blew my mind.
Oh, the proposal, right?
It was, will Travis Kelce propose on the field?
Plus 190 is yes. Is that the same use?
Yeah, and no was like minus 2. Like so apparently like.
It was a Canadian book.
It was like, they equated him to not do it was about as likely as McCaffrey to score a touchdown. Like,
yeah, the facts. That's what
that's nuts.
Like, so what they got planned here?
Why is that a thing? Also, do you see the reporters asking Travis too? They asked him after the win. They said like, "Are you in love with her?" First of all, that's
weird.
just a dumbass question to ask.
Weird ass
and he's
question.
like, "I'm going to keep my personal relationship personal." What else did you think he was going to say?
Remember that conversation we was having for the season? Where I asked you, did he sell his soul? I was joking, but like it was facetious. Like it was like
facetious.
It was.
Hey Siri, how do you define facetious?
All right, Chiefs and 49ers in the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Look at this again. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are underdogs once again. You literally cannot make this shit up. I mean, this is now 3 straight games. I mean, imagine this team in every single playoff game, including the Super Bowl, being an underdog and winning every. I just don't understand that.
Almost all of them. They weren't dogs against the Dolphins.
That's right. That's right.
Almost dogs in every game.
Because they were at home in like fucking in the minus 45
in Antarctica. Yeah,
in Antarctica. Plus 112 on the money line, and that went up earlier today. I saw it was like plus 108. I know it's not crazy movement at all, but you talk about line movements at all. We're at plus 1.5 now. This is a Tuesday night. Do you think we're gonna get any more movement, at least on this spread, and how high do you think it'll go?
I mean, it opened at 3, right? We were talking before the show. I think like right as the game ended, it opened at 3, and it went to 1.5. Immediately.
You can't flip them, right? Like they won't be able to turn into a favorite by net. I mean, again, we're less than it's almost 2 weeks.
It could be down to a pick 'em. I mean, you got time. Again, there's time for some money to come in. Like I feel like curious to see where where the big money goes, because every Joe Public in the entire world, probably myself included, is going to be betting on the Chiefs. So
which is crazy because I did see a bet. I forget who this guy was on Twitter, but he was like, "Oh, here's our first big bet. $1 million placed on the 49ers."
But it feels like every single Chiefs playoffs game, maybe besides the Dolphins game, has been like one of those pros versus Joes bets, and it's like I feel like everyone's been on the Mahomes hammer, and it's
at least a lot of people have been on that.
I was surprised last week. Last week they opened at I think they opened as 3-point dogs. I thought, and I thought he would stay there. Maybe you get it down to 2.5, and it went the other way. It closed at, they were 4.5-point dogs morning of that game against the Ravens. So. I don't know, man. I'm sure the bet volume is going to be on the Kansas City Chiefs, but again, if you got to see where the big money's going. But you have just under 2 weeks for this thing to move, and I wouldn't be surprised if it got to a pick'em.
Well, and you have 47.5 over under, and I only say that just because you were touching. You like the over there, because I only say that because you were touching on the Ravens game, and you were talking about how this would potentially be like the Ravens. Everyone was saying it was going to be the over. And then it was, or you were saying everyone was going to be on the under?
Yeah, like
on the over.
Like the popular pick, at least amongst the sharp people that I follow, they were hammering the under, which looked dead on arrival 6 minutes into the game, and then they looked like geniuses 17-10.
And now you think this one's going to be the over?
I like the over here, man. Just two good offenses indoor. Both defenses are great, but the stadium in Vegas is awesome. I went out there.
Yeah, you went for the Eagles game.
Not the Eagles game. I was out there for Chiefs. It was Chiefs Raiders. 2 years ago, if you remember, I hammered Deshaun Jackson.
Oh my God,
touchdown.
that's right. Yeah. And he had the big deep ball.
It was he caught a big deep ball on the 5-yard line, and then I don't know if he got spun around, but he caught it and then ran 3 yards backwards. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm there live. I think I had $1,000 on it to win $9,000, and that one hurt because. But dude, the stadium is unbelievable. I think Marshmallow was the halftime show. It was like a random November game. I mean, it's going to be fun, man. That stadium's
we got
cool.
Usher for the halftime show. What do you think about that?
Shout out to Usher. I mean, again, Usher is obviously dude's a legend. I mean, it's not like he needs the clout, but I'm sure he's salivating at what's going to be far and away the most watched Super Bowl.
It feels good
ever.
to be it feels good to be at the age finally where the Super Bowl halftime show is like the motherfuckers we grew up on. Growing up, besides the Black Eyed Peas, a couple ones, it was like, damn, I don't know what the fuck they are. It's tough. We got Usher now. Books were offering his first song played. I saw at plus 500. That's value.
It's just also crazy.
That's value.
I love those props, dude. Those are the best.
It's like you see, the favorite ones are like how long the national anthem's going to be.
There's no better bet.
You don't ever I always take the over. By the way, it was the under last year, but I always take the over. You just have to, and I don't know who's singing it this year. But you never see those bets anywhere else.
I hope it's Fergie. Hammer the over.
Yeah, exactly. Hammer the over. Okay, I do want to briefly touch on this too. So, Super Bowl MVP odds. Obviously, you assume, just like any other person, if whoever wins, it's most likely the quarterback. Why is it the case, at least without giving away the pick there? Why is it someone else on the winning team that's not the quarterback?
I mean, I'm just saying, Blaine Gabbert at 190 to 1. I just think Mahomes goes down, Gabbert brings him back from the dead. No, so I've looked into this a lot. So in the last 20 years, obviously 20 Super Bowl MVPs. Of those 20, I think it's been 15 quarterbacks. No, it's been 12 quarterbacks, 5 wide receivers, 13, I think it's 13, 5, and then 2 defensive players, right? So the way that I look at it is if the Chiefs win, I think it's almost impossible for Mahomes to not win. I think it would need the L'Jarius Sneed would need to have 2 pick sixes and just to go ballistic. I think when the Chiefs beat the Niners, it was at 2020. Damian Williams had 150 total yards and 2 touchdowns, and they still gave it to Mahomes. That was, if there was a year that somebody else was going to win it, that was it. So I think if the Chiefs win, it's going to Mahomes. If the Niners win, it's going to depend how they win. Let's say the Niners win and their offense is cooking. It's you get to you kind of get to the regular season MVP debate between Purdy and McCaffrey.
I was going to say
450.
I think McCaffrey at 450 is not a bad look. I think if you want to go insane, I think it would have to be a Niner because I don't see anybody but Mahomes or dude. I don't know if
Debo's not. Debo's. I mean,
Debo at 3,500. I think you could probably talk me into.
He could rush one, catch one, like
and dude, like there's a he was their other than Purdy, he was probably their most valuable player in their game against the Ravens. In their game against the Lions. And look, I mean, like look what the absence of him did in that Green Bay. I mean, their offense went to shit when he went down. So I just think, I think you're burning money to bet anybody else in the Chiefs, not named Mahomes, unless you want to go like
Travis Kelce narrative.
Unless you want to go the Kelce narrative. I think if you want to just take a flyer, you want to burn $5, I would do it on somebody on San Francisco, like Fred Warner at 180 to 1. If he has 10 tackles, an interception. It's
Trey Greenlaw. He doesn't like going down.
It's the two defensive players that have won it in the last 20 years. It was Malcolm Smith on Seattle, and I think he had a pick six and a fumble recovery. Like you had to give it to him. And I think both offenses in that game were just dog shit. So like it was pretty. It wasn't Seattle. It was no, it was. I think it was Seattle.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And then the other one was Von Miller in that Broncos Panthers. And again, both offenses were dog shit. I think Von Miller, he had 3 sacks.
Yeah.
He had the strip sack on him.
Yeah. So I think if it's a back and forth game, balanced offenses, McCaffrey has a decent game, Purdy has a decent game, and Fred Warner has like 11 tackles and an interception.
I make a decision.
Maybe.
I threw my $5. That's where my $5 went.
But dude, I haven't seen the fresh odds, in the last couple of days, and I'm with you, man. I mean, Debo at 3,500.
That's interesting.
That's an interesting one.
Well, you got to assume, right, like that anyone in the receiving category, like for them to have a remote chance, they have to get 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So then, like.
But he can get some.
But keep in mind though, it's also like
if saying Miko, he's not gonna fumble the jet sweep.
Look, if Kelce has a monster game, that means Mahomes has a monster game.
Right.
They cannibalize each other a little bit, and that's why I think it is tough for a skill player to outshine the QB. Debo is that unique spot where it's like he could catch one, he could run one in, he could do a lot, and
right.
And just if you want to actually define the word value, I mean he is one of them. He's just such an integral part of this offense and is like their gadget guy. I think Debo at 3,500 is not a bad look, but you want to just go completely out of your mind insane. Fred Warner at 190 to 1.
Yeah, and that's where my $5 is.
I'll throw 5.
All right, let's go into game picks here, and then I want to ask a final question here about post football. Okay, so we all know where the hell everyone's going here. Manny, where are you going? Chiefs, 49ers. Why?
You make it sound so simple. It's not a simple game.
It's simple for me.
I am going Mahomes though, but I will take the Chiefs. But the thing about this matchup, I'm really hyped to see this matchup, man, because I think the 49ers have enough offensive weapons and gimmicks on offense that they're gonna put up points on the Chiefs, and we're gonna have to see Mahomes respond and Pacheco respond and put up points. I do think Mahomes in the end is gonna prevail. Like I don't understand how you can't keep seeing a plus next to the Kansas City Chiefs when Mahomes on this side and not take it. I do think the 49ers have more than enough to do it, but listen, the Brock Purdy imminent collapse. He had to pick last game. Could have been 2. The Jawan Jennings throw was absolutely a horrible decision that worked. So he's probably due for 1 or 2 of those, like the Josh Allen effect. Sorry, Josh, for the stray.
Sorry, Josh.
But I'm going to go with the Chiefs plus 1.5.
And that means we just got to hammer that money line.
Money line too.
Well,
yeah.
Right. All right, Kenny. We know that you're going to go on the Chiefs because you've been following them the entire postseason. Why is it any different now?
It's not. It's just it's going to be the Chiefs. Now, look, I'm not over the moon confident here. I'm not going to be like emptying the clip on this.
Yeah.
But it's the Super Bowl and it's Patrick Mahomes. I'm betting on the Chiefs.
Now, if you had to give me a touchdown score, let me just pull those up real quick because I know that you like those. There's higher odd touchdowns, but I know you said Justin Watson.
Yeah, I wish I jumped on it earlier. Like Debo opened it, I think 190.
Okay.
Like I know. I wish I got Debo early. I mean, I think Debo at 150, even at the current odds, I think I like. And then if I was gonna go for a long shot here, MVS or Watson, they're out there. They're playing a bunch of snaps. That's where my money's going. I do want to look into what the deal with Sky Moore is. I'm not jonesing to go bet on Sky Moore. He did score a touchdown in the Super Bowl against my Eagles, and it was very depressing here. But if Sky Moore is 100% good to go, I think that's maybe like the flyer you could maybe look in here. And man, you want to just go nuts? You want to go, hey, he scored in his last Super Bowl. Hey, why not use check at 12-1?
Yeah,
You need an excuse.
yeah, I know at 12-1. Can you imagine?
No, you really need an excuse.
I guess I have to stop hating now, and I was dead wrong about the Ravens. I was dead wrong about the MVP shutting down Patrick Mahomes. Okay, we can just say that. Okay, it's clear as day.
You switching sides?
I am completely switching sides.
That's crazy.
Patrick Mahomes is winning this fucking Super Bowl, and after all you needed to do was beat the Ravens. You don't even have to watch the fucking game, okay? Don't watch it. Don't watch it. The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. It's that simple. Andy Reid, you get to go point at Taylor Swift again when the trophy presentation. Taylor Swift is going to celebrate a Super Bowl with Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes is going to win Super Bowl MVP.
Does he propose?
Like, I want to be the fuck. Like, I want to be the guy. I want to be the guy.
90 is a short line, brother.
You know what? That's why he's been hiding everything. He's going to do it. He's going to get on the knee. He's
now
going to open it.
Now you're making me nervous, though. So.
Get on your Canadian books, people, because we can get plus 190 for yes. How about that?
So all them Instagram, TikTok motherfuckers, when my man cashed this bet because Mahomes not losing, y'all show some love.
Yeah, finally, bro. I can get
like,
let me just get one right.
Not even just some green check marks.
People were like, it's like he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just a hater.
We got some bets to sweat.
Do we?
We need a for the boost. We need a market in 3. That's it.
My
and then for the bomb, Neesmith already hit. Reeves hit. White's got 5 at half, and I think Kessler at 4. We need Kessler to go on a rebounding spree when he checks back.
As long as we can sweat, if we can sweat the bomb, I'm happy.
You brought me to this because I do want to close out this show.
Shout out the Moody Gang.
As we're kind of closing out NFL season, we're gonna obviously have one last show with you for football season. We can kind of talk about all the things we want to get going on with you in the NBA season, all that kind of stuff. Where as a capper, and I don't want you to go too deep into it, but where as a capper do you go after football? You assume like a lot of people are like honed in on the football bets, and that's mostly what people know. Obviously, we know you're in NBA, and that's where you go. But like, what are those kind of things that people can kind of expect for post NFL as a handicap?
A lot of golf.
I did not think you were going to say that.
A lot of golf. Yeah, I want to really like when I have the mental bandwidth to kind of dig in. I've been just throwing out some flyers on some of the earlier tournaments, and like it's been the year of the long shot so far. It's like the first 3 winners of the
How about the amateur?
Shut up, Nick Dunlap, man. Get Nick Dunlap. Come on the show.
Facts.
But yeah, a lot of golf. I think golf is. I say this too. I think like look, especially if it's supposed to be fun, right? Gambling it's fun. If you have, it's just disposable income. You're not trying to, bankrupt yourself. I think when you have action on golf, like sweating out a golf bet, I think is more fun than sweating out any other sport. I don't know what it is. Like I love watching golf anyway, but like if I could if I'm sweating out a 2 touchdown play or sweating out my long shot and he's like kind of in the mix on Sunday, give me that. Give me that, because I think like it just makes like every shot is just electrifying. And I just think, dude, like golf is in a weird spot with guys going to live and this, but I do think like it's for the better. It's kind of, you're getting this like WWF, WCW sort of like rivalry vibe. Yeah. It elevates the majors that much more when everyone's going to be playing. But I'll be really, really going heavy into golf. And then obviously we'll have people doing baseball and stuff like that. I'll still be doing NBA, but I'm going like full throttle golf for probably the next 6-7 weeks after NFL.
That's fucking awesome.
Remember I told you like it was probably like a year ago. I'm like, bro, you gotta take a winner every Sunday, just one.
Yep.
Like plus 500.
I do think the hardest part about golf betting though is like how hard it is to pick a guy like even if you're gonna just, let's say you're gonna like, everyone just picks a couple winners, right? Like, but then you're picking those guys, you gotta sit there all weekend for it, and I just feel like that's just so unlikely. Like you're gonna get a guy at like 9,500.
That's why you got.
It's just so unlikely.
DJ go again on Saturday after one got bust. DJ and go.
But then if you wait till Sunday morning, that plus 9,500 guy that maybe you were looking at or maybe you weren't is like 550, and he's in contention on Sunday. So like it goes hand in hand. But I was not thinking you were going to go down that path, so I'm actually more happy that I am.
And plus, dude, I think too with golf too, it's like you can kind of dabble and experiment with it, and you can do it like very cheaply, right? You don't have to. You don't have to drop big money, dude. Like put $5 on 3 outrights you like, and hope one of them's in the mix on Sunday, and there you go. Your weekend just got a whole lot more fun.
And you also sweat even more. I remember, Tiger back in the Masters, and you get him. I forget what hole it was. It might have been the 3rd hole. To birdie.
Yeah,
and you had the grand on that one, and that was just like a huge payout too. So you find those lines.
The bigger tournaments, you just get more markets to work with, and I do think like even for like the non-majors, as NFL ends, I would imagine that the books are going to open up some more stuff, because there's a lot of good fun, unique props out there. And again, like, you know, if you've got like a soft course, you know, good weather, bad weather, there's a lot of different angles that you can play it that I just think like the more props they offer, I think that there's more holes to be able to exploit. So I'm pumped, man. It's going to be Golf Gang.
Fucking Golf Gang in the Mooney Gang at the Moonshot. The Super Bowl is just under 2 weeks away. We have all 3 Chiefs picks here, and our Monday guy, kiiLKenny, has been live in the studio. What is up, sir?
You didn't take. It's just setting that.
No, I
you
didn't take the Niners.
Because we was
didn't take the Niners.
We was talking about the Kittle clip. We was just talking about literally not even 24 hours ago. We were just down here talking about the Kittle clip.
Yep. Nope. It's all Chiefs. We all
fault,
know that.
Kittle.
We all know that. I'm sorry. The Kittle clip
They
was
gotta
awesome.
go slay some demons. I hope y'all
telling
lose, but go do y'all thing now.
If you did watch this episode with kiiLKenny in person live in the studio, make sure to drop a like on YouTube, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Our Apple Podcasts and Spotify loyal listeners, you know what to do. Scroll to the bottom, give us those 5-star ratings. They really do help us out. Our social media platforms, Twitter at 80ED Podcast, and people still find a way to not, like, that algorithm just does not work. But still follow it anyway. Instagram at 80EDPod, and our TikTok, which is simply the name of the show. It has been an absolute blast. Kenny, this is obviously not going to be the last time that you're going to be here, since we know that you're so close. You've been listening and watching to the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. kiiLKenny live in studio. First time, not the last time. We'll see you on a little bit. Post Super Bowl. More for NBA, and obviously golf from this big guy. See you soon.